know that change can be scary, but it can also be exciting.
If I learned anything from meeting Princess on a billboard, is that sometimes you just have to take a leap.
Let's start our new life. Pretty soon, this whole place will feel like home, you'll see. It's all part of the adventure.
That's not an adventure, that's a landfill.
A land filled with adventure. Nancy Edwards!
Robert! Congratulations!
Oh, it's what they call a fixer-upper.
Yes, once your peasants have dug out the moat and added a turret and a balcony from which you can sing. I see it now.
Okay. Melvina, Monroe, I would have sold you this house, but I deal in slightly more upscale homes.
In Andalasia, the hardest part of life is finding your happily ever after. This world's very different.
If this world is not to your liking, then you must change it.
I wish. I wish.
Jumping jelly sticks. Wait, how am I talking?
I wished for a fairy tale life, and it's all gone terribly wrong.
Or terribly right.
At the last stroke of 12, nothing will be as it was before.
Stepmother!
Oh, Giselle, what have you done?
That's wicked.
Wicked good.
Hello and welcome to the periodic table of awesome. Hang on. Oh no, hang on. I didn't unmute Jill. Fuck's sake. So, do you want to do that again, please, Jill?
Oh God, that's fucking awful. Don't ever let me do that again.
No, I was down for it. I liked it. And what's more, I've got a lot of cockroaches and rats that are suddenly
they
coming
just appeared?
Yeah.
I wish I could get those little bitches to clean my house. I sure as fuck don't want to do it.
And I'm pretty sure I found a dead pigeon in the yard, so it just tried to come in through the window. It's a bad time.
Oh,
it's a
no.
bad time for small animals.
Oh dear.
Welcome to this magical episode of the Periodic Table of Awesome, and it's slightly less magical because my green screen thing is fucking terrible. So.
You're just calling us from Andalasia, surely.
Yeah.
Reception's not so good.
Yeah, sorry. New reality. Who dis? What?
Mine is totally fine as long as I don't move my head at all.
You guys need green screens.
Yeah. As I did explain to Jill, though, that if I do have a green screen, it sits directly behind me on this chair and then has a habit of flopping over the top of it.
Professional outfit that we are.
Oh yeah. We are definitely not three people in their side rooms or anything like that.
It's not like we've been doing this online for 2 years or anything.
I have no idea what you're talking about. None whatsoever. And yes, so to explain, Missy's asking the question, StreamYard, what happened? Basically, Dion,
missing somebody that runs the show.
Yeah, Dion is generally the one who has all of the wonderful tech setup that runs the OBS and everything like that. And Dion is having a well-deserved break. And he is, from what I can gather, probably still drinking right now. We're not sure, but as such, he is not going to be joining us for tonight. So back to StreamYard we go. And that's okay, because we're talking about a new Disney movie.
Yay!
And I'm kind of fascinated to hear a little bit about your feelings on Enchanted to begin with. So I'm picking up some good stuff here, Jill.
Okay, so
before I watch this, because I think I might have conflated the plot of Kate and Leopold and the plot of Enchanted together in my head. and I needed to separate them again.
I don't know how many times I've seen Enchanted because it's a lot. And I was thinking about it the other day, you know, like I have two sides of my personality. You know how they say there's two wolves within you? Well, I don't have Moon. I have a Disney princess. And I can't say that I really feel like a rom-com kind of person, but fuck, when it comes to Enchanted, I just turn into like the weirdest person. I fucking love Enchanted so much.
I had that thing where I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen Enchanted. I'm pretty sure I saw it back in the day, but I really couldn't quite remember it. And I sort of, and you know, a couple of times people have said to me, "Oh, and Giselle," talking about her as a Disney princess, and I'm like, "And who?" So I thought, oh fuck, okay, if I'm going to watch Disenchanted, I'd better go back and rewatch Enchanted. So over the course of the weekend, I watched both films, and I'm actually going to join you, Jill. I quite like Enchanted.
Yay!
It's fucking sweet. It's so sweet and lovely
it's
and
just
nice.
so pure. You know, honestly, I don't think there's a bad thing about it.
I was watching it and I was like, okay, I'm waiting for, you know, because I don't know, maybe we've gotten a little bit used to all of the shit from Disney, you know, that sometimes the films haven't necessarily hit. So I was waiting for something that was a bit of a bum note, and I was like, okay, any second now it's going to hit a bum note.
Nah.
And actually, I will give it one bum note, specifically the note that isn't sung. If you put Idina MenzeI in your fucking film, why would you not give her a song?
Yeah, I know.
Which is why we have a sequel.
Yeah. So, like, I would probably give, if we were going to rate Enchanted, I would give it 95, 5 points off because Idina did not sing in the first one. But you have to award the points to the sequel because she slayed it.
She was peak Idina.
Oh yeah.
She was definitely peak Dina. I do have some thoughts about that we will come to. Yes, I'm not necessarily going to be 100% popular with people, but that's okay. But fuck me, that first film is a banger. It is such an enjoyable film, and what it does in terms of, you know, here's a bit of a trope, and now we're gonna fuck with it. Here's something else, and we're going to avoid that and make it into something quite charming. It's like, oh, Jesus.
I do love how neatly they managed to sidle out of the, I don't know about this, with him already being in a relationship. Serious relationship that was about to become an engagement.
Go to the next level.
During the film, there was like a bit of a, I should be rooting for this.
Yeah.
And so that like moment at the end where she's just like, oh, whatever, kiss her, I don't care.
Yeah. And the interesting thing there is that they also didn't feel the need to portray her as being a bad person. Like
they made a point of cutting to her being sad and disappointed when she looks like she's not going to make it.
Yeah, like she wasn't the, you know, evil stepsister or anything like that. She wasn't a trope. She was a character who you were like, okay, they probably would have worked. And if you walk in on your, you know, very long-term boyfriend and find a gorgeous redhead on him falling out of the shower, yeah, you're probably going to be a little bit like, the fuck, dude.
Yeah.
So, you know, any frustration or anger that you see from her, you kind of understand. Anyway, like the thing is, I could quite cheerfully go on for quite a long time talking about Enchanted.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I love Enchanted.
Now, I had forgotten that oh God, the actor's name, Timothy Spall, was in it. He's the LeFou type character.
Oh yes, yep.
He's very good, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. This is funny, and this works on lots of different levels. And I fucking shout out to James Marsden.
Oh god, I fucking love James Marsden. I love Edward. He's such a adorable idiot and really plays into the Disney prince so well.
He does it so well. Like that kind of cheesy fucking I'll save you and you buy it. He will save me. So Pete, where were you at with Enchanted? Had you seen it many years ago?
I'd seen it many years ago, and obviously enjoyed it, but didn't tickle me enough to watch it multiple times, and also might have forgotten much of the plot and got confused about, like I said, whether it was Kate and Leopold or like which way around the romance was going in Enchanted. Like who was the fish out of water in this one? Oh, that's right, it's the princess. But it's such a fun film. Like it's such a fantastic parody of / homage to Disney fantasy animations, particularly the princess-led kind, from the animation style and all of the many digs at certain fairy tale tropes, but particularly the way those fairy tale tropes are portrayed in those particular kinds of animations. It's wonderful. Like it's so well done. There's something for everyone. Even if you hate Disney animations, you get to watch it and have a giggle because everything that you hate about it gets a little bit of airtime.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt that they put Mc Dreamy in it either.
I mean, never hurts.
Two Mc Dreamies, if you want to be honest.
Yeah. I did enjoy him as well because he does the very tough job of being the straight man in amongst the whole kind of like even, and I actually went back. There's one of the songs in it I really liked so much I went back and rewatched the fucking song because I was like, that song's cool. Which is let you know that you love her. Or, how do you? Yeah, that one. Can't remember the fucking words to it.
It's a massive production piece.
You know that loves you.
That he just has to play it straight the entire way through.
Exactly. And
yeah,
I
like,
love.
Does everybody know the words before you go? Like, how does everyone know this dance?
Yeah. And I love that. I love that he's got that particular choric role there where he's just like, okay, you know the words to this song too? Right. Okay, we're doing that. Okay, it's a mariachi band. Cool. Okay, what? And I love that. But also, yeah, it is a massive production number that feels really expansive, all the way through Central Park and everything. You're like, yeah, this is a big number. And I fucking love that. And yeah. Then we come to talking about Disenchanted, and that's what we're talking about.
I gotta say, that trailer is garbage. That is an awful trailer for this movie. They really could have cut a better one.
It did some, yeah.
It kind of buries the lead on what the story's about, to be honest.
A little bit, yeah. And should I tell you what the story's about?
Oh, please.
Okay. Happily ever after, again. Seeking a change from their busy lives in New York City, JIll-zelle and Robert relocate their family to the suburbs of Monroeville, a charming town reminiscent of Andalasia. Their teenage daughter, Morgan, however, is less than thrilled. After a mishap in Morgan's room of the new house, her entire wardrobe is ruined. And to make things worse, JIll-zelle accidentally embarrasses Morgan in front of her peers at the new school. In a fit of anger, Morgan tells JIll-zelle that she will never be her real mother, only her stepmother. Devastated and desperate to alter her circumstances, JIll-zelle wishes on the wand of wishes for a fairy tale life for her and her family. And the next day, that wish comes true. And that's the setup.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's actually not a terrible synopsis. I was like, well done, whoever wrote that. So, what did we think?
As far as sequels go to movies that were, 10 years old or more, it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. it still had a lot of the same charm points as the original. It didn't quite live up to the original, but it was a very good sequel, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So Missy's asking when was the original made? 2007. When you go, oh, that's not that long ago. No, that was 15 years ago.
Okay, a bit more than 10 then.
Because I did that thing of going, oh, that was quite recent, wasn't it? No. And then when you do go back and look at Amy Adams in it, you go, and Mc Dreamy, everybody in it, you go, oh no, no, that was a little while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, the math doesn't work out for the young girl, so they've definitely recast her because she'd probably be 25 now or something. So
yeah, I was doing the maths in my head. Did they keep the act? No, they didn't keep the act. Peter, your head's on an angle. I'm intrigued to know what.
No. I was just thinking about the music in the show. I'm going to tell you what's happened. What's happened is that ever since you played that trailer, I've had Into the Woods in my head.
Me too.
Because when she says "I wish" like that, then
more than anything,
exactly. And I'm not sure if they did that on purpose, but if they did, it was very effective because it happened when I watched the movie as well. What do we think about the musical numbers in this as all three musical lovers?
They were a little far apart, a little few and far between. Not as catchy as the original. I mean, we had a big dance number, which was good. I think the evil face-off song was not bad, but Idina killed it with her songs. I was like very happy for Nancy to finally have some songs.
I wish I could agree with you. I love Idina Menzel. I think she's amazing, but I actually think getting that particular song, which was Love Magic, Love Spirit, I thought was
Love
some
Magic.
It was some shit lyrics. I was like, she is killing it, but like that is a song that should be the epic theme for the movie, and I was like, that's some shit lyrics.
Okay, look. Alan Menken maybe wasn't at his best for this movie because there were a few lines in some of the songs that were a bit contrived. I do agree. But on a whole, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. I'm with Kanga on that one. I think the performances were great.
Yes.
Some of the songs I didn't necessarily like. I was watching it, and my partner was sitting on the seat beside me, and she's not a musical fan or anything like that, but everything felt very samey. Like everything had a very polished Disney sameness that this is me being a little bit, this is me being hypercritical, I'll admit. That a lot of the songs felt very much like, I don't know, just the same song over and over. Whereas the first one, there were songs in it that felt very different. Like they had very different rhythm structures. They had different like things that they were singing about. This one, I mean, yeah, okay, the tango between the two evil queen things.
I loved that.
Yeah. There were some lyric choices that maybe could have been workshopped, but I liked that number.
Yeah.
Yeah. and that's the thing. I was like, there were a few things that I was just like, not quite. But there are other things that I was like, pretty good.
Yeah, they were close, but yeah. It's so hard because that first movie was just so fresh and original. And how do you do that again with a sequel? I really do believe that the plot for this movie was good. I think it was a good choice. I think it was a good story structure. But do I think that it could have been polished a little bit more? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter,
I don't know
want your
how
opinions.
to do that. I don't know how to do that though.
I don't know if it's because I watched it pretty much straight after Enchanted, like same day, after I refreshed myself on Enchanted. I thought while watching it, to be honest, this is fine. Like, this is fine. Like, I'm also like in a mood, but it was like it was totally fine. Like it was like lots of things were really fun about it, and made it all into like a absolutely fine package. Entertaining and fun in pieces, and like costumes in some bits were like so much fun. And I did love that Evil Queen tango. I thought it was brilliantly performed and absolutely loved it. But like, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, I am not gonna rewatch the sequel as much as I watch Enchanted, but it was nice to see the characters again and nice to revisit those characters. I think that one thing that I really noted in this was a lot of tongue-in-cheek play on Disney films within the movie.
Oh yeah,
and like very
everywhere.
obvious references that I think were kind of fun.
I think the first one that I really noticed was where Morgan, I think, leant on something, and then somebody splashed a bucket of water behind her and was doing the Little Mermaid pose. And I went,
yeah,
very good. Well done.
No, the first one I noticed was a bit before that, where a little bit of the "Be Our Guest" refrain popped into a song.
Yeah.
And then they also had the little sidekick characters of the evil queen dressed as the evil stepsisters from Cinderella.
Yeah. And we also had Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather in there.
Yes.
I mean, that's just very direct.
Yeah.
There was many times that I was like, you're not even trying to hide this shit. You're just putting it directly in front of us and go, look at the reference.
Yeah. I think that was fun. I don't know why they decided to do that for this film and not have that as a recurring theme over both movies to tie them together. But I mean, it was fun. It was a fun addition. But maybe it was also distracting from the fact that the story wasn't quite as polished as it could have been.
Wasn't quite as polished, but also I do think that like it sort of started pulling itself in a lot of different directions. So the first one is such a simple concept. Disney princess in real world realizes that fairy tale love actually isn't as powerful as real love. That's a real simple concept. You add in the complication of the little girl and that kind of stuff, but it's a really, really simple concept. In this one, if I was trying to boil it down, Disney princess moves to the suburbs and makes a wish and slowly becomes the evil queen or the evil stepmother. Meanwhile, secondary princess character is trying to go to the ball. Meanwhile, Prince Charming / is
it's a bit too much. Yeah.
Meanwhile, magic is being siphoned out of the other planet, and I was like,
yeah.
I feel
but
like
the clue
Patrick Dempsey had to play it so straight in the first movie. It was fun to just let him do whatever that was in this one.
Yeah. I liked seeing a different characterization for Robert. But I feel like the clue was in the title of the film and they should have just stuck to it, like Disenchanted. She's disenchanted with the life that she's living in the real world, and she wants that fairy tale back because life's getting hard now. She's got a teenager and she has a baby, and maybe she just wants something easier. And if they'd leaned into that more, made it, I guess, more of her focus in the story rather than Morgan as well. Oh, but I don't know. It's so hard. It's like, how do you balance all of that?
And I think that's perhaps part of the issue is how do you balance it all?
Yeah.
Because, the Morgan character is clearly there to be the jump on
that's
point
the
for little
conflict.
girls.
Yeah. It's also the conflict within the story is that like Morgan revered JIll-zelle in the first movie and idolized her so much, and now that you know, she's become a teenager, and teenagers are cynical and hate everything now, and that magic's kind of disappeared. And so how does Giselle get that relationship back?
The funny thing is, I didn't even think that their relationship was that bad. Like having seen other teenage and parent relationships, I'm like, fuck, that Morgan was still very loving and clearly loved her stepmom, but like this, and also because there's now the new baby, and the new baby doesn't rate a mention in terms of like plot point.
Yeah, it's very much a baby that doesn't do anything. So I guess there's
a part of me that's like, fuck yeah, let's take a leaf out of the labyrinth here, you know. Let's you know, give Giselle the thing of, I want a fairy tale life, and in fairy tales you don't have babies because you live happily ever after, you know, that kind of thing. Like, and maybe I'm writing a different film here. I think I am, but you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. There were a few times where I was just like, this seems unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah. The story could have done with simplifying. The plot overall was a good idea, but yeah, maybe simpler.
There was also the thing. Sorry,
maybe simpler would have been better.
I like to think so, but I don't know. Who knows? There's also an interesting. Yes, Missy, I'm going with the child-free commentary. Sometimes I have some statements to make. I have opinions. I also thought there were some weird and unnecessary kind of additions, like the whole thing of Pip turning into a cat.
Oh, that was just to go with the stepmother trope.
I know, but
stepmothers don't have pet squirrels.
but then like Pip then goes, and I got confused as to whether or not who was good and who was bad, because you know he's an evil cat, but then he goes and does good things, and I was like,
well,
what's
he
going
wasn't
on
really
here?
bad yet. The clock hadn't struck midnight. You don't understand the basics of the plot.
Wow. I wasn't aware I was going to be quite this called out in this film.
I'm just saying, like, be picky, but I feel like that one was fairly clear.
Yeah. Okay. But it just, I don't know, the flip-flopping also. And the funny thing is, I really like the performance of Giselle shifting between being sweet and lovely and then shifting to snarky evil stepmother. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that you can hang a film on that.
Yeah, she's brilliant. I want Amy Adams to be my mum. I just love her so much.
I can't comment.
You want her to be your mommy?
Okay. That's a place.
I didn't say anything. We should definitely not reference this ever again. So, okay. We liked some of the songs, not as memorable. What would your favorite song be? A deathly silence.
Well, Peter loved the tango one.
I like the tango because I love that I like in musicals when you have those two-handers that really play off each other like that. And I think it was brilliantly performed. And it just made me happy in that kind of like, oh, I'm nerding out on this musical thing way.
Yeah. I mean, I have had love power stuck in my head like for a couple of days. So maybe that's
that one.
I guess that one.
Okay. I really struggled with Love Power. I almost got to the point where I'm like, I love you, Idina Menzel, but fuck this song. Which I feel really bad for, because I know that that's the one that they were going, here's your banger. Here's your big let it go.
It's possible that it had one too many refrains at the end there. Like it could, like maybe they could have pulled it back slightly. Because it is a little bit of a repetitive, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was still enjoying it.
Okay, Rob makes the point here, said like we like this sequel better than Hocus Pocus 2. I feel like, and this is something else, I feel like this is very much cut from the same cloth. Like
I wouldn't say that at all. I thought Hocus Pocus 2 relied on rehashing the same jokes, whereas this one did not rehash the original. It had a different story. It just suffered from a lack of direct vision.
I can't comment because I didn't even bother to watch Hocus Pocus 2. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Hocus Pocus is a little bit different to Attack as well, because that was kind of more like a cult generational thing that they were, which is why I didn't watch it, because I was just like, there's no way I'm going to like this. There's just like, that needs to stay what it was for me. Now, the question, like, can it capture a new audience, would probably be the question. Whereas I think this one is less of a cult thing that has a lot of meaning to a generation, and more of like a fun story that, like, obviously everyone wanted to do a little bit more of it. And I think in that regard, it is kind of fun, because it's like, it was utterly unnecessary. But
yeah, you're not going to capture a new
fun film.
You're not going to capture a new audience with this one, because there's absolutely no context for the story unless you've seen the first one.
You might get people watching the first one and then watching this one, though. Like,
Yeah.
you might kind of bring a new audience that way.
But the thing with Hocus Pocus 2 was you could watch that without having seen the first one and still understand the story.
Yeah. Okay. I'm still not going to watch it.
Well, because Hocus Pocus 2 virtually was the same story. But yeah. There are things that I guess I keep coming back to, that I love the simplicity of the first one. You know, that it sort of relies on Disney tropes, but it does it in really clear, simple ways. You know, Edward is your handsome prince. He has his sidekick who is, you know, enthralled to the evil queen. The evil queen is an evil queen and is just, you know, absolutely riffing on every evil queen that's ever been in Disney. This one, I found like there were just so many things that were competing for attention. So Maya Rudolph, I thought, yeah, sweet, she's going to be great as an evil queen. And I felt like we spent almost as much time with Yvette Nicole Brown and the other offsider, that I was like, okay. Like, I kept on wanting more simplicity.
Yeah, it does suffer from, we've added a bunch of extra characters and now we have to fulfill their stories. Yeah. You know, and I mean, there are some characters who get all but screwed, like Tyson, the young prince guy. I don't even remember what happened to him. I think in the end, those characters don't really matter. They're just fodder.
Yeah. Peter, you're on mute, my love.
Sorry, I've got roadworks have just started outside, so I'm
brilliant
trying to save you guys the noise. But do we feel like maybe something like this, in this, you know, current television climate, actually could have been fleshed out more and been a more successful series, like a 6x30, with you know, key musical moments and giving us more time to explore those different characters that we've added?
That could have been fun, you know.
Having seen how successful Gallivant did that,
and Schmigadoon, like short run musical series, they work. Yeah,
and I feel like that probably could have worked really nicely, because then, you know, you could have had characters come in, have a number that is their number for that episode, and then once they're done in that episode, they don't have to come back. Like, you know, you could have given Alan Tudyk an amusing number about being a Skrull.
I love he's just the go-to fucking character voice now.
Yeah. I was listening to it. I'm like, who the? Oh, of course it's fucking Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I agree, Pete. I think this structurally probably would have worked better because then you give each of the characters a little bit more breathing room, and perhaps another, extra story beat or two to make them feel filled out. Because I still think that Mc Dreamy, I don't know, don't feel like he got a lot good to do in this.
No, he didn't have much to do.
But then again, it's not his story, so fuck it,
No.
Okay, I
got
reckon.
to have fun.
Yeah, yes, I agree, and yes, Missy, Alan Tudyk is Mephisto. I think it's time to rate it. So if you can put in the chat with the little 100%, I can't do it here because I don't have access to the chat properly. But please tell me your numerical score so that I may write it down. Decisions, huh?
Yeah. Well, if I would rate the original at 95, then I would give this one, I'm going to go 75. I still fucking love Enchanted. Yeah. It might have been a 70, but it gets the 5 points that it lost from the first movie because Idina sung in this one.
It's picking up points along the way.
It is. Yeah, I still had a lot of fun because the first movie holds a really strong place in my heart, and I will always watch Enchanted if it's on. And so, yeah, I score this one a bit higher just because I'm biased.
You're allowed. Pete.
I mean, look, I'm going to give it a 73 because I like musicals. And while it didn't kind of blow me away, I always like having a musical to watch. And it's pretty and it has fun costumes and it's not wildly offensive. And, it's fine. Yeah. It's entertaining. I got pretty much what I wanted from it.
I love that Missy's like, oh, for all your gushing. I don't know. I don't think we've been overly gushy.
Well, my first comment was, it was fine.
We're quite critical.
Yeah, I think that
although you know that our ratings are moods based, so that's just something that we just have to accept, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to love it a lot more. Because I had so much fun with that first one, and I was like, I was still bopping on, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. And I was really hoping to find some moments that hit that level of fun, but I kept on seeing the edges of the budget, which, I mean, I'm sure it's got a big budget, but there are a few times where I was like, why is that shot during daytime? Why is that shot in a fairly uninteresting house set when, like, the first one did a much better job of kind of being big and expansive, but also set in New York? So I don't know. For me, it's 67. It's okay. I would very happily go and rewatch the original, but I don't know that I would watch this sequel again.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Which, yeah. And and that Love Power song just
Love Power. They're the only words I remember.
I love it. Okay, we're going to go to a clip and then we will come back and talk about it in spoilery detail, but I really don't know what we could spoil.
So hard to spoil this kind of story.
Yeah, no, but anyway, we're going to go to a clip. We're going to come back and then we'll talk spoilers and I don't know, about other Disney princesses probably. Okay, let's have a clip.
The king and queen of Tanzania? Nancy Edwards, what are you doing here? Oh, we had to build a portal to your new home. Oh, girl.
Hey, wow.
Robert!
Congratulations on the increasing size of your progeny.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your dwelling. Are you poor now?
Edward!
No.
Oh, it's what they call a fixer-upper.
Yeah, it's
I see. A fixer-upper. Yes, once your peasants have dug out the moat and added a turret and a balcony from which you can sing, bathed in the light of a forgiving moon. I see it now.
okay. And on that note, I'm off.
Oh,
Fucking love James Marsden. He's so good.
that's my jam, and that's where I think like I wanted more of him. And I got to
he can just go into full character. It's amazing.
He is
I feel like
just
maybe they could only afford him for a day though, because like there was opportunity to see more of that character. But he was like, I'm just going to stay in the cartoon world now.
I know,
Bye."
right? I was like, no, bring him back into the real world. Let him do hero things. Yeah, I wanted more of him because he was cool. And also just a little bit snarky. I love that fucking bathed in the light of a forgiving moon.
He's very privileged.
Yes.
I mean, I was thinking watching that clip about what you were saying, Quinny, about seeing the edges of the budget. And I think I just don't care in this kind of thing. Like, I think it kind of feels so much to me like a fairly kind of absurd fantasy. It's looking at kind of musical stuff that you usually see on a stage set anyway. And it kind of didn't bother me that some of the sets looked like they were out of a 1930s musical and not out of a modern day musical, you know, because I think my brain kind of checks that off for musicals. Like, oh, it looks like a set. That's fine. That's what a musical is.
Yeah. I don't know. I just because like when you compare it to like the big Central Park musical dance number,
yeah,
I was like, okay, it's big, you know, hundreds of extras, and they're all doing their things. And like anytime there were more than about 50 extras here, it's suddenly
I don't know. Quinny, inflation's a bitch.
Yeah, look, if the extras don't have speaking roles, they're a hell of a lot cheaper. So it's probably cheaper to pay for extras than to pay for sets. So, you know, that's how they got away with doing the Central Park stuff. You only have to block it off for a weekend and shoot that scene.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah. And yes, Rob, I'm pretty sure he did have to rush off to make Sonic 2.
Oh, God. I hope he got paid a lot for Sonic 2. Fuck.
Yeah. Karina asked the question, how does Disenchanted and Enchanted fare against Gallivant?
Can only say I've ever watched one episode of Gallivant, to be honest.
It's stylistically quite different. And I think its aims are quite different. You know, Disenchanted is more, or Enchanted particularly, is more of a loving nod to the genre, whereas Gallivant's a straight up parody. And in that way, it's much funnier. But it doesn't kind of feel as warm and fuzzy as Enchanted, I would say.
There's a part of me that with a name like Disenchanted, I could imagine them going down the parody, like the snarky parody route for this, but I'm glad they didn't, because, you know, I think there's enough cynicism in the world. I've got enough. Like I keep giving it to all of you. But yeah.
On the musical front, I know that a while ago, like, because we were going to do some like breakaway musical shows back when we were doing Lockdown Fridays, and we never really did it. But it made me think, Jill, of Cinderella, which I know we both loved very much, and I enjoyed that more than I
believe that's actually getting a follow-up.
Oh.
Yeah. Is it Brandy? The lead?
No, we're talking about the Camila Cabello one.
Oh,
that came out on Amazon earlier this year.
With James Corden as a mouse?
No. Wait, yes.
I'm just going to say
yes, James Acaster and James, what's his name?
Corden.
Yeah, the two Jameses with mice. Right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yes. So yes, if we're going to watch musicals, Cinderella, Check it out.
If the chat has not seen the Camila Cabello Cinderella that is on Amazon Prime, watch that. It's probably better than it is better than Disenchanted. But not better than Enchanted.
Okay. So because I didn't. So, is there another Cinderella? Because I did see that somebody was saying that one of the.
That's the Rogers Hammerstein Cinderella is the one that Brandy was in.
Oh, okay, right. So, okay,
Yeah.
then that's a different beastie again.
Yes.
There are a lot of versions of this.
So, yeah, and then there's Ella Enchanted and so on and so on.
And there's also the Cinderella that was the Disney one, yeah, like the live action.
One.
Sorry.
Oh yes, and then there was the Lily James one.
Yeah, I was like, there's another one. I know there's the Disney one because she's
So
got the
many
fucking
Cinderellas.
yeah, the joys of something being out of copyright.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out!
Oh my god, and Ever After, fuck.
Yeah, Ever After is a brilliant version of Cinderella, one of the best, I would say. Is that just me? Is that
No.
just me
I'm just trying to think.
I haven't seen it. I haven't
I'm just
seen
like
it.
I'm not sure. That...
Look, I
movie party,
missed a
Jill.
lot. I missed a lot of 90s seminal movies. Okay,
I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, come over for a movie night.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Or
okay,
fried
right.
chicken, and we'll watch Ever After.
Sure.
And like, I want to come.
You can come too, Quinny.
Thanks. This is not a musical though, is it? Ever After is like a straight.
No.
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are there anything in this that is a real spoiler? I'm just trying to think if there's anything
You
that
can't spoil
really?
something that
No.
by the basis of its genre has to have a happily ever after. Like, it's just not possible to spoil this film. So I don't
there's
know
no
how we
great
can
big
discuss
twists.
spoilers.
No huge twists, nothing like that. Nobody dies.
No, I was glad that they went back to the animated Andalasia. I think that was nice to see, and I think it was at the start of the film. I was like, oh, they actually spent some really solid money on doing their animation, because like one of the ways that this could very easily have shown that it was, not trying so hard, as if the animation didn't look like Disney quality, but it did, and it was like, oh, this is good Disney, right? They've put proper fucking money into their animation. Yeah.
In terms of unexpected castings or cameos, Karina's asking about. No, I mean, I guess Alan Tudyk, but he's just
really
a voice.
unexpected at this point in a Disney
Yeah,
film.
yeah, it's kind of like, oh, we have a wacky character that is animated. Oh, it's Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, there's no one really like.
Oh, Missy's already winding us up for next week. She's like, "You're
Oh,
done.
wow.
What are we doing next week?"
Okay. Jesus Christ!
Thanks for keeping us on task, Missy.
Thank you.
She's like, we gotta go.
Yeah, time. Okay, enough of this bullshit. I've gotten what I needed out of the podcast, so fuck you all, we're out. I like that Karina's like, oh, she's stepping in for Dion. Like Dion ever. I did like Jayma Mays, who was Ruby, so partnered up with Yvette Nicole Brown, like the two.
Yeah.
I thought they were quite
fine.
good.
This
is the thing we keep coming back to, isn't it?
Yeah, they're the slapstick sidekicks.
They were exactly as expected.
Yeah, they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
The one that was slightly nicer than the other one, and like, yeah, I really don't have any major complaints about like anything.
No, it was as we say, perfectly cromulent. Just didn't kind of go the extra mile, and that's a sad thing. But it was suffered from sequelitis.
Yeah, and unnecessary sequelitis. Like the first one. Okay, so Predicanga has a but why, and I'm very keen to hear what your but. Okay, at the end, the evil queen turned the henchwomen into frogs. Yes, toads, to be more precise.
A but why?
I I did have a brief but why about that, I have to admit. Like I kind of rewound it when I was like, when did she get actual magic powers? But again, I think that was that world coming into
that was
its
the interpretation of the fairy tale life is that there's an evil queen and she always has magic powers.
Yeah. So and I had a but why about that, but then I realized what they were doing. So it's kind of like how Giselle wasn't the evil stepmother the whole time. She slowly became the evil stepmother. The evil queen was slowly becoming the evil queen, and it had to wait until she was fully the evil queen before she got her full evil queen powers.
Yeah.
That's how I interpreted that anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. It's funny, Missy's saying that she likes the idea of the happily ever after getting a sequel, the next chapter of the fairy tale. For me, the best...
That's Into the Woods, though.
Thank you. That's exactly.
That's the second act of Into the Woods.
Yeah, and I think I've told you the story of that. Like I first saw Into the Woods on a Sunday stereo special on ABC. We'd been out, so back in the mid 90s, early 90s, or whenever that was on. We'd been out, and I came home and turned on the TV, and there was this musical, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty good." And just as I was getting into it, it ended. And everybody had a happy ending, and everybody was all happily ever after. And I was like, "Oh, that was really good. Oh shit, that was quite funny." And that was the end of the first act. And then the second act came on, and I was like, "What?" And watched the rest of it with mouth agape and thought, "Fuck, this is amazing," and fell in love with it. And then have wanted to watch it every time that it's ever been. And I have my problems with the film version of that too. That
it's fine. I actually saw it for the first time in real life recently when I went to New York to attend the Emmy Awards.
When I just went and got my Emmy.
And I sprung for tickets to see the revival that's happening on Broadway at the moment, and like totally worth it. It is so fantastic.
Oh my God, Tara, yes, agony.
Far more painful than yours. See, I always thought that James Marsden would have been amazing in one of the princes, like Chris Pine, great, but James Marsden, like in this, you just see him and just go, that guy. Yes. And I also would have loved it if they'd kept the original conceit of the film, of the stage play, where one of the princes is also the big bad wolf.
Yes.
Because I always enjoyed that. I love that kind of dichotomy, and that.
The film's interpretation of the wolf is just a hard no.
Yeah, Johnny Depp in a fucking zoot suit.
Hard
Johnny Depp in anything these days is like,
exactly.
Like over Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I've listened to the soundtrack many times and I love it. I think it's very good. Like musically, it's very good, but it's still, that one's never quite as good. Yes. Yes, Tara, you should find the stage play.
Yeah, we're in a bit of a lucky era for musicals where more and more stage musicals are being recorded for viewing on streaming platforms. So maybe we'll get the proper version of Into the Woods before too long.
Yeah,
I just love watching. I don't know. There's just something about, like, I do love adaptations, but there's something about one of the things that makes stage musicals special is the way that they are designed to all play out in that space on the stage. And there's just something nice about seeing them in their original form as well. But that I know is getting into like a deep musical nerd kind of point of view.
Yes and no. I think there is something really magical about seeing live performances that are specifically on a stage with an audience, like hearing a line delivered and a huge audience, rumble with laughter or fall about with laughter is fucking magical. And that is something you can get with the filmed stage experience.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
There's a a streaming service called Marquee that I believe has a lot of musicals and theatre and plays and such that have been recorded that you can watch. It's another one that you have to sign up for, but yeah, it's out there if you want to go and see what they've got.
Oh, well, maybe if we ever do our musical episodes, we'll review some of them as well.
I think that'd be a lovely idea. And yes, Rob, there is a stage performance that has been recorded. I'm pretty sure, like of Into the Woods, the one from the 90s is still doing the rounds. You can still find it. It's got Bernadette Peters as the queen, as the witch, and it's just absolutely mint. But there you go. Okay, what are we doing next week? You know, Missy has nudged us.
We are doing the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Fuck yeah!
Yeah, I actually won't be here next week, so have fun.
Oh no, Peter, are you here next week?
Oh, I'm just Googling what Casper just said and realizing that Belvoir Street Theatre is doing Into the Woods next year. So there's something to do.
Oh,
am I here next week? I am not here next week. I'm in Glasgow next week. So whatever you're doing, I'm not.
Okay. Well,
just the boys next week.
It'll be Dion and me talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, the Christmas special, or the holiday special, which is out tomorrow, I think it is. No,
this week,
3 days.
Friday? Yeah, Friday.
People have already seen it. Like the reviews are starting to pop out, and apparently they keep using the word heartwarming, which is not what I expected.
Okay.
So that's something for us to perhaps look forward to.
Yes. And Rob, we are doing Andor the week after.
Yeah. We have to do
it was supposed to be tonight, but unfortunately we did not have a Dion with us, and we must talk Star Wars when there is a Dion here. So we'll do that the week after next. Which brings us into December. Oh my God. Can you believe it?
What should we cover in December?
I would like to suggest, I fucking hate Christmas, but I want to talk about the Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell Christmas movie, Spirited. There was another Christmas movie that's coming out,
which is also a musical, so I'm keen to check that out.
What was the other Christmas one?
Oh, there's. I'm keen to. We could go big heavy on the musicals for the Christmas. Matilda is starting on Netflix. The Tim Minchin musical.
There's another Christmas one. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, we are also. We do have an invite to go and see
Violent Night. That's it. That was the other one because we got tickets to go and see it. I want to talk about Violent Night.
That should be thoroughly entertaining, hopefully. So yeah, that will more than likely be on the list. Predicanga is saying that 1899, which is a new show on Netflix.
Looks interesting.
It does look very, very interesting, and I'm keen to give that a goddamn go. So, look, as per usual, I think it's the everything thread. There is a poll. If there's stuff that you want us to do, put your things in there, and we will attempt to ignore you entirely and do whatever the fuck we want anyway. Hang on, no, sorry, I said the quiet parts out loud. Whoops, that's not what we do at all. I'm sorry, that's very awkward. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I would raid somebody, but honestly, I can't because we're doing StreamYard and making this shit work is fucking nigh on impossible. Casper says, "Where's our Smallville review?"
I don't know, like a decade ago.
More? Longer than a decade.
Yeah. I'm sorry, did we say we were going to do a Smallville review? Did I make that promise at some point?
That's a lot of TV for me to watch, guys. I don't know. Not right
Atsky. Maybe we should do a Pinocchio off. We should do that horrible live action Disney one with Tom Hanks, and then we should do the terrible Del Toro one.
The Del Toro one looks gorgeous, and the Disney one looks like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like nightmare fuel. So let's do a Pinocchio off.
I'm excited for this. And of
Pinocchio
course, Yes, there is the new Avatar film.
Nope.
But yeah.
Hard no.
Also, it is a very busy month, so the schedule may be all over the fucking place for the month of December. Many people going away, people going to various different states and so forth. So keep your eyes peeled on the schedule, and we'll try and let you know ahead of time what we're actually going to do. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I have been Quinny.
I've been Peter.
And I've been Jill. I've been dreaming of a true love.
I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not sit here counting zeros in a cubicle downtown. I wanna look out my window, see 'em flying, and swing across the horizon as I cheer 'em on so proud. Deep-powered girl keeps staring at her face, and call Colossus and have 'em teach me ways, and then we'd exercise. I'd be one of the guys. The martial arts from my